Okay, now what I want to do is plot this line basically. Remember, this is the line that relates weight to height when BMI is 22.5. Okay, so I want to plot that line. And so I could try doing this. This is basically what I want to do, H versus W. But there are a couple problems with this. First of all, W is not really defined as a vector. But I could just define W as a vector. So W equals this, where H is the vector. Okay, so that's one thing. So basically I could do this, except there's one more problem with this. And that is the order of the points that we have for H, W. In other words, let's go back to our vector, H. Actually, our vector is height. So let's go back to our vector height. Okay, so let's look at that. And so the problem is that these are not in order. So there's going to be, in other words, okay, let's create the W vector now first. So what is W supposed to be? Okay, so now we didn't actually talk about multiplication. I don't even know if we did this, but this is how you would do multiplication of a constant like this times height and then raised to the second power. Now, okay, so let's make sure that let's see what W is equal to. So we get that. Okay, now the problem is, like we said, that the height, what is height again? Is not in order. So we're going to get a weird set of lines. What I really want is to reorder height so that it's from least to greatest, and then recalculate W so that it has the corresponding W values, and then plot them, and then plot the line. So what I'm going to get when I plot this line, I'm going to remember that the weight is going to be the weight corresponding to a good BMI. So I'm going to get the weight for each height, and then I'm going to draw a line that connects those points. So I'm going to get kind of a line that represents the well, I'm going to get a line that represents this basically. But I have to reorder the height variable in order not to get this kind of zigzagging, because that's the way the line works, right? Going from here to here to here to here, like that. That's the way the lines function works, as we saw. Okay, so let's reorder height first, otherwise it won't work. If you want to see what happens, well, I don't want to do it here, but if you want to see what happens, you can try it now. First, you can pause the video and then type lines, lines, well, first of all, you have to, no, now you can do it. Lines, height, comma, W. Okay, you could do that now, but that's not what I want to do. So I want to reorder the height first. But if you want to see first what happens when you do that, go ahead and do it, and then come back. So I've created a new variable, height, reordered, and you can see that it's in order now. So I called it HH. Okay, so you should be able to just type in a new variable, create a new variable called HH that has this vector using the combine or concatenate. Okay, after you do that, I want to also recalculate the weight vector, which I'll use HH instead, like this. Okay, so now if I look at the weight vector, it has the same numbers, but they're corresponding to the HH ordering. Okay, and now I can try to plot this line. So I do this, and I get this line. Okay, and it's on the same graph as the other one. Now there's a way to separate them, to have them on different graphs, but here we want them to be on the same graph. So now we see the the weights that correspond to kind of normal BMI for a given set of heights, or for any height actually, okay, because of the way we did this. Okay, so here we can see that this person's is way above the weight which would be for the good or normal BMI. So this person is considerably overweight, which is kind of obvious because they're 175 and their weight is way above 90. Okay, this person, their BMI is lower than, or their weight is lower than the expected weight would be for the normal BMI. Okay, so we can get this kind of information. But remember, we had to reorder the height variable in order not to get the zigzagging, which I don't know if you tried it, but you would have seen not too much zigzagging because but you would have noticed this wasn't such a clean straight line. So if you want to use the lines function and get just a simple straight line like this, you do have to reorder your vectors from least to greatest and recalculate the corresponding vector. Now, by the way, you could also have done it like this. You could have also done it like this. So instead of, you could have also done it like this. So instead of doing W for the second argument or second parameter, you could have just done the calculation that produces W in here. So remember, the calculation that produces W is 22.5 times HH raised to the second power, and that's what I put in here. So you could have just put that in there and it would have worked just as well. You can see it gives me the same line here. I just ran it and it gives me the same line. Okay, let's stop this. So we're finished with graphing for the time being, and we'll continue with some other parts next.